Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, I've borrowed a used car from my friends at Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport. Some of you have said you'd like to see more of the used models. This is the 2018 Alfa Romeo Giulia. It's the Q4 all-wheel drive model, and the color on this is Misano Blue, a very attractive color, especially with as much sunlight as we have coming in today. Hopefully that won't be a hindrance in the video. We apologize if it is. It just sometimes happens. But on this beautiful, bright, sunny day, you cannot help but catch this absolutely stunning color. This competes with the Mercedes-Benz C-Class and the BMW 3 Series, among others. And a very interesting looking car. It kind of looks similar to the BMW 3 Series. Sorry, Alfa Romeo, please don't fire me. But it is what it is. And if you want to know more about this model, if you're watching at the appropriate time, we're filming this on December 22nd of 2021. There's a link down in the description of the video for this very car at Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport. You don't see a lot of these on the road, and I really like the overall design here of the front end. The way the grille has been incorporated, there's obviously enough air getting in, but it's not an overload. So you're going to have the center portion right here, of course, that iconic Alfa Romeo logo right there. But I just like the fact that you don't have this giant upper and lower grille. Now you do have more air inlet right here with the lower grills on each side. And while it's not really any kind of a front splitter or anything like that, I do like the way the front end flows right here and kind of has the look of a front splitter to a degree, but definitely a great look. Now, I'm going to do something very interesting here. I'm going to go start the car real quick and let Carrie show you something, but I'll show you what it is right before we do it actually. But if you look, it's going to be right here on the headlights and of course on the right side as well. But it's very interesting. Instead of having the headlights that actually follow the steering wheel the way a lot do, these are just going to light up as you turn the steering wheel. But you'll notice when I turn the steering wheel, either one side or the other comes on when the wheels are pointed straight. They're not on at all. So check this out. I'm going to just hop into the car real quick. We're going to start the ignition, start the engine up. So here's what you'll see at first. So the wheels turned to the left. You're going to see the left side come on. And let me close the door so we don't have that chime. And then, well, just so Carrie can hear me, I'm going to open the door here. We're going to go to the right-hand side, and I'll just go ahead and let you see those come on. That's really a pretty cool feature. And then I'll have Carrie step back a little bit further, and I will straighten the wheels all the way up, and you'll notice that, well, everything goes off as far as those lights go. That probably has been on other vehicles we've featured here. We just happened to notice it today. That's the advantage of having Carrie help me film. But just an overall nice look here with the headlight housing. I like the way the overall design just kind of flows around here onto the side of the car. Just a really good look. Alfa Romeo definitely has some sharp looking cars, but let's talk a little bit about how sharp it might be under the hood if you're looking for a vehicle that might save you some gas but still give you some great performance and handling. This is definitely something you should consider. Let's pop the hood and find out exactly what's underneath. Okay guys, I'm squinting a little bit, but it's not about me, it's about the car. So that's why we got the sun in the background here. One thing I have to point out, if you watch me regularly, you already know what it is. One of my favorite features, just because I'm a gearhead. I don't like to open the hood on a vehicle and have to go hunting around for that rod to manually put in place to hold the hood up. You're going to have the hydraulic struts right here that are going to hold that up for you. Just added bonuses there. I really like that. There's really added value from Alfa Romeo, and you would expect that on really a higher end model like this. Under the hood here, the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 280 horsepower, 306 pound-feet of torque. Gas mileage numbers, not too bad. 23 miles per gallon city, 31 out on the highway, and a combined total of 26 miles per gallon. So let me walk around here a little bit. I know we're going to get a little bit of a shadow in here. We're trying to avoid as much of that as we can. Tire size, those are 245 50s wrapped around the 19-inch wheel. And for those of you who always ask, I don't have them on right now, but it's so bright it'd be hard to see anyway. Turn signal indicators are indeed built into the side view mirrors. These are power folding side view mirrors, so when you hit the lock button, those are going to automatically fold into place. And here's a look at the remote. everything you would probably expect to see there. This is actually a very sturdy remote, has some weight to it. Going to have a remote start, which is one of my favorite features, and it is a proximity key. You're going to be able to walk up to the car, touch the door handle, everything's going to lock or unlock. You even have the button there if you need it. That's always useful. And of course, just the overall look of the side of the vehicle, I really like the lines here and just the way everything flows, especially down here on the lower portion. That just gives it a more racy look with that lower door sill working its way back, just kind of gradually growing in size as it gets back here towards the rear wheels. For me, as a car guy, again, that's just something I look at and say, that adds value. It gives it a racy look. Sometimes you don't really think about that when you're looking at a car. If you really start to study it, you'll see the lines and understand why it looks so good. Let's talk a little bit about cargo space. 12 cubic feet. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but the good news is you can lower the rear seats. This isn't a full-size sedan, so you're not going to have full-size cargo space. But here's something to save you some trouble. Maybe you're going to come into Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport and buy this model, or you're planning to at least look at it. If you want to lower the rear seats, there's something very interesting here. Not anything unusual. I'll let Carrie show you a couple of things around here as far as what's back here. But here's what's interesting, and we'll just leave that right there. We'll put that back in just a minute. But I want to show you how to lower these rear seats. You've got the release right here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull on that, and I will quickly run around here. We'll let Kerry stay where he is. Don't worry, I'll be back in the shot in just a second. Like I said, here I am. That's what you're going to do to lower these rear seats down. And that's not the only, of course, you can lower both sides. You can also lower this middle seat right here, kind of as a pass-through. Now, you won't do that from back here. You'll actually do it right here on the top of the seat. There's a release on there to do that. But just so you know and don't get confused if you buy this car. And I have to say, I like the way the rear finishes here. You do have a little bit of a lip back here. Not a spoiler, but just kind of a lip that goes up on the back of the trunk. That looks nice. Again, one of those things you might not notice if you're not a car guy or car girl for that matter. And of course, you're going to have the things you would expect to see here. The Q4 logo, Alfa Romeo logo, if I can get that out of my mouth, and then Giulia right here. But something I like here, you've got the exhaust finishers, the dual exhaust finishers on here, and a really kind of nicely proportioned rear diffuser of sorts. At least it looks that way. I don't know that it would really function as such, but just so you can see what's here. Now, if you're over 5'10", which is exactly how tall I am, you know, I pretty much almost can't get my hand between the roof and the top of my head, just so you know. But you do have a sunroof back here. This is actually a split sunroof is what they call it. You've got this portion right here that separates the front from the rear, but you do have, we'll close that shade right there, a manual shade here, got a power shade in the front. But as far as conveniences go back here, let's just take a look at what you've got. You have the cup holders right here, the dual cup holders. Again, get that out of my mouth without stuttering or anything like that. And the armrest. But one thing that I found that was very interesting here, as far as the latch system goes for the child safety seats, one of the easiest to use I've seen so far. Here's what I mean by that. All you do is just pull up on that. You don't have to actually remove anything. It's very convenient. If you take the seat back out, you just put that back in place. I really like that. Dual air conditioning vents, kind of had that Mercedes-Benz look of sorts. One USB port back here, but that's actually one of 4 USB ports throughout the interior. I'll show you where the others are when we hop into the front seat, which we're going to do right now. Okay, let's take a look at the front seat and what you'll find here. And I do like the design of the seats here. You've got the Alfa Romeo logo stitched into the headrest right there. A decent amount of bolstering on each side. Not too much, not too little, just seems just right, at least for me. And then you do have the adjustment here if you need that extension on the seat. That's manually adjustable, but other than that, you have the adjustable, power adjustable seats here for the passenger and the driver. Let Carrie show you where those adjustments are, where you would expect them to be. It's not quite like Mercedes-Benz where they're up here on the door, where I'm so used to going down here on the seat. And let's open the glove box here just to see how much space we have in there with all that in there. We've got a little binder and that kind of stuff in there, but you can kind of see what's there. There's a decent amount of space. So not too bad. Got the door bins there. Let's see if we can get that closed. The door bins are decent size, not huge, but they seem to fit this car pretty well. Let's talk a little bit about what you'll find when you hop in, and I'll show you one of the features that kind of stumped me as we were trying to get into this car. I was looking everywhere. I was stumped. I guess I shouldn't admit that probably, but I was looking over here for the button. This is the first one of these Giulias we've done, but the ignition button is right here. And actually, once I discovered that, I thought that's actually a really nice location for it, because once you get used to that, I think that's a really good spot. Tilt and telescopically adjustable heated steering wheel, leather wrapped, along with your leather interior. And then, of course, you've got your instrument cluster here, analog, tach, and speedometer, but you've also got the digital speedometer as well. Kind of what you would expect here. But keep in mind, this is a 2018 model, so I have a feeling a lot of people are going to say that this looks antiquated here with the infotainment screen, but I have to admit, when you start going through, let's just put it into reverse. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. You can see that the graphics are actually pretty good. It would be nice if it was a little bit larger, I think, but it just is what it is. And of course, you've got the sensors, a lot of good safety features. You've got all the parking sensors and all that good stuff around the vehicle. We'll put that back into park. Put that back into park. Of course, one of the features that I think a lot of you are going to like is the fact that you do have a regular shifter right here. I know in some of the other vehicles that the push button shifter, people don't really like those for some reason. Tell me why you do or do not like the push button shifters. Always curious to know. But here's something to look at here. You have the DNA selector. That's your driving modes right there. Kind of interesting. It looks like there would be a button right there, but there's not. But you select this. And here's the big advantage of this. I'm just going to show you how that works real quick. A lot of vehicles that I've reviewed in the past, real high-end vehicles, let me just show you as I go through the different driving modes, showing you what's going on, colors change. It's really kind of a neat looking system right there. But a lot of vehicles I've done, I mean real high-end, Lamborghinis for example, when you change the driving mode and then you turn the ignition off and then turn it back on, you have to reset all of that. I like the fact that with the dial right here, you don't have to do that. And if you're one of those people who doesn't like a touch screen, well, this is what you do not have, a touch screen. Here is how you control everything. You can actually zoom in on navigation right there by just turning the dial. Just kind of show you what's going on there. It's very interesting, but you also have other features here as well. Depending on what you want, you can work your way through everything just with the dial, and you push down right here in the center of that dial to select whatever it is you want to select. And then of course you can go back to your menu if you want to. Everything pretty simple and self-explanatory, but I just want to make sure you see what's here. A very nice vehicle, being a 2018. I mean, it's just 3 years old at this point, almost 4, but that shows you what's here. And then of course right here is going to be your knob for the radio, for turning that on and off, and for the volume. I'm not going to turn that on so we avoid copyright issues. You've got your dual zone climate control here. I think I'm actually going to turn that down because it's actually getting kind of warm today. But you've got dual zone here. Everything pretty simple and self-explanatory to figure out. There's another one of those USB ports I was talking about earlier. If you want to hide your cup holders away, well, you can do that right there if you want to. Where are the other remaining USB ports? They're right in here. That's probably going to be kind of a hard angle for Carrie to get, but we'll see what we can get for you. But you can see the other 2 right here. Like I said, there's a total of 4 USB ports in this vehicle. One thing I do have to say here that's probably my favorite feature, there's not but maybe 2 other vehicles I've seen of over 500 I've reviewed here on my YouTube channel that have this feature. When you turn the steering wheel, notice the shifter paddles don't move. That is nice. And they're very large. So if you're driving spiritedly and shifting manually through the gears here with the shifter paddles, it's nice that if you have the steering wheel wherever it may be, whether it's to the right or to the left, you don't have to wonder, well, what do I need to hit here? They're right here. I think more car makers should do that. Instead of having really these steering wheel mounted shifter paddles, they're actually mounted to the steering column. And of course, I can't go without mentioning that Alfa Romeo has a very interesting feature that I know not all of you have on your vehicles. It's called the turn signal lever. It's right here on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. It is a little bit different than a lot that I've seen. It doesn't actually click into place. So when you do that, the right-hand turn signal comes on. Make sure you can see that. And then when I click it down to the left-hand turn signal comes on. But what's interesting about that is the fact that it doesn't actually click into place. You just kind of push it. It falls back into its kind of a neutral position, but just so you know what's there. If you've ever wondered what that's for, or maybe you're one of those people who's, you know, maybe not at the best financial position of your entire life and you can't afford that turn signal option when you buy a vehicle, well, at least you kind of know how it works and what you might be able to afford in the future. Okay, we're going to get out for a quick test drive here, and probably not going to be able to do much. Got a little traffic in front of me that is just out for their Sunday drive on a Wednesday. They're driving very slowly, so I think we are going to go around some folks here. Got a little line of traffic there. But one thing I failed to mention earlier is the DNA selector. So D is going to stand for dynamic. So that's going to be the mode you're going to want to drive in if you want to drive spiritedly. And stepping on the pedal in this model isn't exactly overly impressive, but that's okay. You know, 280 horsepower is going to get you around. You can have some fun with it, and well, actually that's not terribly bad, but it's not exactly going to plant you back in the seat. So that's your dynamic mode. Natural mode is just kind of the neutral in between. And then A is kind of like your econ mode in the Hondas. Advanced efficiency is what that is known as. So depending on what your mood is and or desires, well, now you know. But the thing I have to say I noticed most here is how comfortable these seats are. The bolstering is just perfect, but just the overall seating is very comfortable. You don't find yourself struggling to find just the right seating position, although the seats obviously are adjustable. But that really impresses me. And something else, you might not notice this if you're not somebody who's a race car driver such as myself. I like the size of the steering wheel here. It's not too big and it's not too small. It's kind of just the right size. As we struggle to get going after the light turned green here, I think this driver in front of us was staring at their favorite color on the light back there, because their favorite color must be green. Do a little acceleration test here. Actually, that's kind of impressive. Not too bad. Of course, we are in dynamic mode, so let's go back to natural and see how much of a difference I can tell. So we're going to slow down a little bit here. We'll do a 40 roll. Let's see here. That's not bad. Okay, you know, I was saying earlier it's not super duper impressive, but actually it's pretty surprising. Of course, being an all-wheel drive model, that's going to make a difference. And so it's about a 60-40 split when it comes to where the power goes. 60 to the front, so obviously can put 40 to the rear, roughly, at least based on research that I did earlier. But for a little car like this, not little, kind of a mid-size really, but got to be careful what I say. We don't want to get the correction Nazis going down in the comments section, right? Because they'll let you know if you say something you shouldn't. It's almost as if they can't sleep at night if they don't. But hey, I didn't say that on video, did I? No sarcasm whatsoever. But okay, here's a good opportunity. Let's see how it handles through the corner here. We're going to accelerate out just a little bit here. Not much. Couldn't do much because there's traffic in front of us, a couple of vehicles, but handling is really good, which is what you would expect. The center of gravity is obviously low, so handling is going to be really solid. If you want to get out and drive spiritedly and have a little bit of fun, well, obviously that's easily doable. And overall, just a really fun car to drive. I'd like to have a little more horsepower under my foot personally, but tell me down in the comments what your preferences are in that area if this is a model you would like to own.